Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together here live on Facebook every morning at 10:30, where we exchange stories, headlines, suggestions, comments, and ideas about how to have the best of times or the best of possible times here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. It's always a pleasure to welcome friends that have been here for a while, but it is always a pleasure to welcome new folks that join us. So if you're new to these broadcasts, feel free to write the word new in your comment and let us know where you're from, and we will do our best to give you the most heartfelt welcome. Also, if you have any questions, because comments tend to move about fairly quickly, please add the letter Q to your question, and we'll be happy to address it during the broadcast, or I will be happy to take a look at it during after the show is over. Once the show is over, my trusty assistant Luna gathers all the comments and all the show notes and puts them together in a couple of articles that we put out on Facebook and YouTube and on the website, so that if you have any questions about anything that we talk about, you can find all the sources of the information there. Sometimes the sources are in Spanish, but I still want to keep them there because I want to make sure that you know that everything that we talk about comes from reputable sources. So trust is important for us here. And what else? And somebody was asking me yesterday, how do I find out when you're going on? Well, I know that I'm always going on at 10:30 in the morning, but if you like the page, if you like the Coffee and Headlines page on Facebook, you will get notified whenever we're about to start a broadcast. So that might be helpful for those of you that haven't chosen to like the page. I'm going to take a quick look at who's here. Ronnie's in the house, Bridget, Bill, Daryl. We have a lot of friends that join us on a regular basis. Hello, Paul. It's always great to see all these happy faces and all these happy good mornings. It's always a pleasure to meet with you morning after morning. Lots of familiar faces. Again, if you happen to be a new person, let us know so that we can welcome you. Gayoff says he needs an assistant like Luna. I wish I could hire her out, but unfortunately she keeps quite busy with with taking care of my life. It's always great to see Terry and the gals from Beach Crossers, wonderful folks that help people that have mobility issues enjoy our bay to the fullest possible. Boom, 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 boom. Let's jump into the news. Today we're following three basic stories. We're following COVID, of course, and the latest remarks made by our governor. We're following mixed messages about the use of face masks that we're going to completely disregard, but I think you should know they're there so that you can see why sometimes us Mexicans live in this semi-state of confusion as far as what we get from our leaders. We're also following the kidnapping at Fluvial Vallarta. New details have surfaced, and then we have all kinds of fun news to fly through, and of course the weather. I'm not going to forget it, and a special message to my dear friend Mark Hartman. I'm out of blue shirts today. I'm on transition mode. I'm wearing my trusty white T-shirt, and I should go back to yellow and orange starting tomorrow. Not that you're losing any sleep over it. Anyhow, let's, oh my goodness, we have a very happy first-timer, Marcia Ward Ross. Hello, Marcia. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. Today is Wednesday, so we're still very well behaved. Once we get to Sunday, our marbles start being scattered all over the apartment. So Sunday, we do allow ourselves to be a little juvenile. But in the meantime, I hope you have your coffee ready or your favorite morning beverage. And let's just dive into the news today. Well, as I mentioned earlier, yesterday afternoon, Jalisco Governor Enrique Alfaro addressed the citizens of the state yesterday afternoon on his Facebook page. He was meeting with his Security Council, his Health Council, and his Economy Council, and they met. Obviously, they met to figure out, oh dear, are we pushing this button this week or are we not? The message that the governor gave was inconclusive. What he said is we all have things to work out. We have some homework to take home and look at numbers and look at scenarios, which they did. And he promised that he would come back on Thursday to let us know exactly what's going to happen. Now, is he moving the finish line? We don't know. Is he really trying to set himself up to close down the state for another 14 days on Thursday? We don't know. Is this starting to feel like a Mexican telenovela? You bet. Because for better or for worse, the information is inconclusive. I wish I had anything new to say other than the fact that Governor Alfaro said, keep doing what you're doing, which we already know. And we've said it a number of times. Wear your face masks, stay at home, go out only if it's essential, and that's basically it. It was interesting to see how many news sources tried to stretch this amount of news into like full articles, but the bottom line is we still don't know, and we won't know until Thursday. More than likely, it'll be Thursday afternoon. So we will be talking about this either Thursday morning, if it happens in the morning, or Friday morning. Meanwhile, locally, we see this photograph of local authorities trying to raise awareness around vehicles about the preventive measures that we should all be taking. And I love the headline because the headline says, a call to awareness about COVID-19 risks pisses some people off if you ask them to follow them, or something to that effect. And this is the subdirector of citizen protection in the fire department who make these statements. Apparently, they must be going around the city trying to advise the population to follow guidelines, and people are not following guidelines. What can I tell you? I hope you are. Well, I know you are, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. Meanwhile, the Coparmex, which is the national union of businesses, is one of the large business associations in Mexico. The Jalisco chapter said that if the governor was to push the emergency button and we shut down again for 14 days, we would lose almost 140,000 formal jobs in the state of Jalisco. Today, he says, the people from Coparmex say that 82,000 formal jobs have already been lost. So we could get to up to 200,000 if this emergency button is activated. Let us hope that it isn't. But then again, if the numbers call for it, let us hope that it happens soon, and that it just happens and we can continue moving on with our lives. Meanwhile, there's this note that has to do with the tourism, the meeting tourism, and this is something that a lot of times we're not even aware of. While we're enjoying happy hour, or going to the beach, or living our daily lives, there is a fair amount of tourism in Puerto Vallarta that has to do with conventions and meetings and so forth and so on. Well, apparently all of the events for 2020 at the convention center have been canceled, and some of 2021 events are up in the air. I think there's still an event for 2020 that is still sitting on the website on standby, and it is a UPA dance competition. And we don't think about these events as being significant because they're not part of our daily lives. But I mean, if you think about an event that brings 500 competitors or 500 attendees to Puerto Vallarta, think about them traveling with families and friends. All of a sudden, any one of these events can summon up to 2,000 to 3,000 people for a weekend or a week in our city. So it does have a major impact in our economy, believe it or not. This one really made me laugh. I don't know what to make of this. Taxi cabs are given a sticker that means that they are COVID free. I repeat, taxi cabs are given a sticker that means that they are COVID free. How can this be possible? I don't know. When you consider that people go up and down of a cab and you never know exactly who's going to be in your cab, and you don't know if they washed themselves that morning or not, and maybe they have lice. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how can they come up with these certifications? Beats me. But I thought you should know that if you ride a COVID free taxi cab in Puerto Vallarta, you are going to be COVID free or something to that effect. I am not entirely sure, but I thought you should know. I'm sorry, I thought that was funny. And if you didn't think it was funny, I am. Never mind. Meanwhile, restaurants in Marina Vallarta are reporting a slight increase in numbers because they have a lot of, or a slight increase in tourism, which is making their numbers better. Of course, we know that Marina Vallarta attracts a lot of families, many families that are here from cities like Guadalajara and so forth and so on. So, this is essentially an interview with a waiter at a restaurant called Almacén Gourmet, um, where he says that yes, it would be really horrible if we get shut down again, but at least the folks in Marina Vallarta can be happy that um, they have more clients to improve their economy. Um, okay, the face mask business. I want to. Oh my goodness, Jim Alonso needs a cocktail. He's we are kindred spirits, Jim. I'm skipping through your remarks and I'll get to them in a second. But yeah, it is one of those days in which cocktails are needed to go through the news. Paul says ridiculous claim by taxis. Well, I have to say this, Paul, and everybody else. Needless to say, the government, the private enterprise, and everybody involved are trying to come up with the best possible strategies, promotions, ideas that they can to restore people's trust. I laugh at the initiative because I think in my mind, how can you certify that anything is COVID free? Because I understand what the disease is about and I understand how it operates. Or at least I try to think that I am somewhat informed about it as you are. But at the same time, you have to appreciate, as you will see in some of the news that I have saved up for later, that it's not for lack of trying. I don't want to be a skeptic about this. I do believe that in the middle of this novel situation, our businesses, our authorities, our decision makers are trying to come up with whatever they can to to give us something that'll help us restore our trust in the world and living and traveling and going out and so forth and so on, which is not made simple by some of the news outlets themselves. We've had this plethora of mixed messages coming from our leaders about face masks. Our own president, Lopez Obrador, said a few days ago, well, I don't have to wear one if I'm keeping my safe distance. Meanwhile, Lopez Gatel in Mexico City was quoted to saying that the use of face masks will not be obligatory. In other words, he says that Mexico will never order you to wear one. There's that face of strong commitment. I don't know what to make of it. But what Lopez Gatel is trying to say is, yes, we think they're useful, but we're not ever going to tell you to wear one. We're not going to order you. And in another news item, he says that Lopez Gatel trusts in the judgment of Mexicans for the use of face masks. I like this photo, and I want to stick to this photo like we stuck to a photo on of people trying to ride a bus in Guadalajara the other day. This looks like the subway in Mexico City, and I want to keep that up there just as a reminder that, we see a lot of people wearing face masks and being protected, but, there's no safe distance in the Mexico City subway. And I want to remind us again, do these people choose to hop on the subway? No, they have no choice. They have to go out and work. They have to be in close quarters with one another. They have to live with this much risk. And I want to keep that photo up there for a second just as a reminder to those of us that live in spacious apartments or have the luxury of staying home, and just be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of people that don't. Anyhow, back to Lopez Gatel's remarks, because he gets a lot of questions, because some of the press members of the press have nothing better to do than to question these things that we already know are useful. But don't get me started. That was about Lopez Gatell and the masks. Meanwhile, of course, Enrique Alfaro, our own governor, is promoting um, the use of face masks nonstop, because it can decrease the spread of COVID-19 cases by up to 70%. So some leaders follow some guidelines, other leaders follow others. Um, just again, just use your common sense and follow the guidelines that make sense. And I think we have a good idea of what they are. Before we get into the fluvial business, let me very quickly take a look at your comments in case there's something that is important to address. There's another new person. Hello, Kathy Scott Rinaldi from Prince George, BC. That sounds like a fabulous place. I've never met Prince George. I hope he's sexy. Let's take a quick look. Is that Marsha, the bad idea bear? Hello, I loved you in Avenue Q. It sounds like we have actors in the house. I love it. Let's see. I love this comment, and I feel this very strongly, Geoff. Being Lopez Gatell, being Anthony Fauci, being our governor, being any one of these people that it is so easy to chastise because we think they make wrong decisions. Like, who would want to be any of these people in these circumstances? Seriously. Um, let's take a quick look. Ding 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 ding. Bam bam bam. You guys are chatty as always, and I love it. Taxis are free of COVID. Imagine, I hope they're being fumigated after every ride here. Well, that's my point, Claude. It's, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think this may have to do with the governor. And yes, he must be in a very, very, very tight spot right now. I completely agree. Let me move on to the kidnapping, which also starts to sound like a Televisa soap opera. Let me see, where did I stop? I think this is what's next. Yes, this is what's next. So we continue to get news about this situation in Fluvial, which we thought was just a murder. As a matter of fact, a number of tourists were lifted. They say they don't call the word. They don't call it kidnapping. They were lifted, and according to the state's prosecutor, all except for three were released spontaneously on that same day. Apparently, whomever perpetrated this held on to. Apparently, the attack was directed only to a group of three people or four people tops. The other people involved in the incident just happened to be part of this group that was traveling from Guanajuato. And according to the report from the state's prosecution office, only one of the families came forward to the government to raise an official complaint. So, of course, the case is still being researched, and the information will probably continue to trickle down. Of course, this was reported differently in a different newspaper. This is why sometimes the numbers, we are not so crazy about numbers here, but here they say that the prosecutor's office said that the event was involving four people and not three. So gotta love the accuracy or the consistency between one source and the other. This one came from the local Department of Security, from the local police, And the headline says the area where for the tourists were attacked lacks video surveillance. And this was a statement made by Misael Lopez of the police department here in Puerto Vallarta, who went ahead and blamed COVID-19 for not having surveillance, video surveillance in the city, like COVID-19 has been plaguing us for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. But he says it's just a little bit of details that are missing so that Puerto Vallarta can have its video surveillance system operating. Let's place some bets, and let's say that 6 months from now, maybe a year, we'll have another situation like this. And once again, the local government will say that it's just a few details missing for us to have video surveillance in the city. Do I seem jaded? Am I seeming cynical today? Ever so slightly. It is hump day. What can I tell you? There is another headline that I want to share regarding the kidnapping, and this is for the truly morbid of you. There is an actual video that was taken from afar of the kidnapping going on in action. If you want to go there, you can go there on your own. We're not going to play here because if we play here, then YouTube gets on my case. But of course, this is going to be part of the headlines. I went and looked at it, and it looks all blurry. And then you hear some shooting, and that's it. That's what happened. What can I tell you? Let me take a quick look at your comments before we slide into the weather and into some great news that we have today. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, God bless you, Stephanie Silver Krellen. Do I do this every day? I do this every day, and I love doing it every day. I wake up early in the morning, take a look at the headlines, sort them out into general topics, pick the ones that have the most accurate information, try to merge them with the ones that have nice images to go with, and I try to create a narrative in English so that you can get a sense as to what's going on in our world. So if you're enjoying this, stick around. It's always fun. If you're not enjoying this, don't tell anybody, because the rest of us are really having a good time. Anyone read Pam Thompson's real-time experience on COVID? I haven't. Let's see. Okay, we'll be looking out for you, Stephanie. This is very true. The government can only do so much. It is up to us to follow the rules or not. Absolutely in agreement. Okay, so, oh my God, Bill McKenzie says that video was taken from my building. Okay, just come out and tell us that it was you, Bill. Just kidding. Anyhow, oh, this is good news. Cookie Lady's now making pineapple and strawberry empanadas. That's actually good news. And because that has to do with leisure stuff, let us dive into the leisurely stuff. The Emmy nominations are here, and we must dish. But, of course, before we do that, let's take a quick look at the weather. Weather is 28 degrees Celsius, 82 Fahrenheit. Humidity is a high 89%. And we have a 5% chance of precipitation. Let me take a quick look at what Carrot Weather tells us about the weather forecast today. We're going to have rain and humidity throughout the day. Tomorrow we're going to have possible light rain in the morning, which is weird. We don't ever get that much rain in the morning, but I love early morning rain showers because they make me feel inspired. Friday, humid and partly cloudy through the day with a little bit of wind. And that's what Carrot Weather has to say about our world. Now, I love it when the Emmy nominations come out every year, because for me, the Emmy nominations turn into this checklist of shows that I need to binge on, because by the time the actual awards come around, I want to be well informed to know exactly what is winning and why. And of course, I love to have these conversations with my friends. So the Emmy nominations for this year are out. I believe the show will take place in September. Oh, it will air on September 20th. They've changed the date, of course. And all the nominees are here. Some of these you may have watched, some of these you may not have watched. We're not going to get into the specifics because, of course, this will take some time. But this is how I figure out what I'm going to be binging on later on. This comes from Vox, of course. Dear Vox, we love our Vox. And of course, Vox has an analysis article as well about who are the winners and the losers on this year's nominations. And this is looked at from the point of view of the networks. Which network did well, which network did not do so good. We also learned from the Cord Cutters website that Amazon Prime Video will add a new PBS channel. This means that if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, hopefully this will also happen in Mexico. The article does not specify if this will only happen in the United States or not, but this is going to be a new channel available through Amazon Prime with documentaries produced by CBS. I don't know about you, but I've always loved documentaries in general, and CBS produces some really awesome ones. There is a new 20 peso coin out there, presently only circulating in 2 states. But just in case you happen to stumble upon it, this is what it looks like. It has not a hexagonal, it has 12 sides, a 12-side engraving. So if you run into this new coin, it is real. It is a real thing, and that's it. I just wanted to show it to you. This is an interesting bit of news. I know that sometime in the recent past we were talking about beaches that are certified or not certified. Usually the certification authority that Mexico has paid attention to has been Blue Flag, and Blue Flag is an international nonprofit organization that goes around the world and gives certificates of cleanliness and other factors to both beaches and marinas around the world. This is something that has been very, very important to Puerto Vallarta, but this latest headline says that Puerto Vallarta is losing ground as far as Blue Flag. Oh, bad Freudian slip. No, we don't know about blue flags here. We only knew about Blue Flag beaches. Paco, really? Anyhow, we used to have up to 8 local beaches that were certified in Puerto Vallarta, and this year we only got 3. Meanwhile, other parts of the country, such as Baja California Sur and Quintana Roo, are increasing with their certification. If you're curious about where the beaches are in Puerto Vallarta that are certified, there are 3 of them, and it is Playa de Oro, which is in the hotel zone, in the north part of the hotel zone, close to the maritime terminal. The Sheraton Beach is also certified, and Playa Palmares, which is in the South Shore, is also certified. Does this mean that you shouldn't go into any other beaches? Of course not. This only means that these are the beaches that completed their Blue Flag certification successfully. So it's not like you shouldn't go swimming anywhere else. But if you want to learn more about the Blue Flag certification, what it means, and so forth and so on, I will not only leave a link to the news item, but I will also include a link to Blue Flag as well. We learned through this news item from Vallarta Opina that the Tourism Bureau of Puerto Vallarta has brought 2 YouTube influencers to Puerto Vallarta so that they can write about our destination and blog about it and send out information promoting our destination. And these are 2 national influencers. One of them is Luisito Comunica, who's this goofy looking guy with a curly hair, and the other guy's name I forget, but I am kind of pissed at this photograph because this pool, this swimming pool, this infinity pool on the left, that was going to be my pool for the summer, and it isn't, and I'm pissed. This is the brand new pool that Canopy River installed in their premises. We've talked about Canopy River because I've talked about Moro Paraíso in the past. Moro Paraíso is this wonderful this wonderful place that I like to spend weekends at, along the Rio Quale. And further down that road is Canopy River. And Canopy River is a fun place where, you can not only go and do the canopy ride, but they have a great restaurant, and they have, now they have this swimming pool that you can access, of course. And I do know that the pool is open with safe distance guidelines and so forth and so on. But anyhow, these are two national YouTubers that are going to be writing and promoting Puerto Vallarta on their influencer channels. Hopefully, this will simulate tourism and will bring more national tourists during the summer months. Of course, other strategies will be put in place for the fall as usual. I want to talk briefly about the Cervantino International Festival. If there is one performing arts festival in Mexico that really, really goes out of town to bring top international talent, it is the International Cervantino Festival. It is named such in homage to Miguel de Cervantes, the writer that wrote Don Quixote. And it takes place in Guanajuato City and San Miguel de Allende primarily, although a lot of times, because the government spends so much money bringing all these talents to the state of Guanajuato, some of the talent overlaps, or rather not overlaps, but some of the performances are also brought to the city of Guadalajara. This is how I ended up watching the Trocadero de Monte Carlo but dance troupe many, many years ago. And of course, the Festival Internacional Cervantino brings tons of economic prosperity to the state of Guanajuato, and the state of Guanajuato was completely taken aback over the fact that the International Cervantino Festival is only going to be available live. This was a major blow to hotels and restaurants and a lot of different businesses in these cities that were banking on weeks and weeks of economic prosperity. It usually happens during the month of October, and this year it will be no exception, with the difference rather, that it will only be 5 days long, and of course it will be available only virtually through your computer to protect the integrity of the audience, the artists, and all collaborators. Just so that you get a sense to how large this event is for the state of Guanajuato. The last year's edition brought 400,000 visitors to the state of Guanajuato. There were 2,292 artists. There were 127 different artistic performances. There were 19 days of concerts and performances, and it involved artists from 34 different countries. That's how big the Cervantino Festival is, or has been, or used to be. It is Mexico's Edinburgh Festival, for example. It is just ginormous. So let me come back to the big me before I share one final tip. I want to see what's on your mind and what you have been commenting on. I saw a number of comments just zoom by as soon as we mentioned the Emmys about favorite shows and not favorite shows. See, I love those conversations. I really, really do. Because I like my television. What can I say? Oh, I like that tactic, Paul. You know what? I'm going to do some field trials of this for you. In fact, I'm going to go to the Hotel Mercurio swimming pool this weekend, and that's where I usually run into Cookie Lady. And I will buy a few bags of cookies, and I will offer them to the boys, and I'll let you know if how that works out for me. Comments about Watchmen. That's great question. Is the Amazon Prime PBS any different than the traditional PBS? Good question. Amazon Prime and Netflix are different from country to country. At least they're different in Mexico than they are in the United States, Sherry. There is some overlap in series, and there is some overlap in additional features. For example, there is a great miniseries by Steven Spielberg called Taken. It is ancient. In fact, it was filmed in the old rectangular television aspect ratio, and it is available on Amazon Prime, but you can only watch it in Spanish. So that's a difference. Will the PBS broadcast be the same or different than in the United States? I couldn't tell you. And I'm fortunate enough that I speak English, but sometimes you run into these shows and you watch them in Spanish, which is my native language, and it's just not the same thing. So I don't have a specific answer for you. I can only hope that we'll get all kinds of subtitles available for English and speaking and so forth and so on. There's no worse experience than watching James T. Kirk, captain of the Enterprise, saying to Scotty, "Beam us up, Scotty," in Spanish. Do you know how it's said? They say, "Súbenos, Scotty." So it's not exciting or anything. We can just hope that we will get some good programming. And I'll keep you posted, Sherry, because I am a Prime subscriber and I'll be happy to talk about this. I knew I would get some flack for this. I deserve it. Yes, we have blue flag beaches in PB. It was all in good humor. It was just a little blurb. More comments about Emmys, and this is all wonderful. And you naughty man, you. Anyhow, I want to thank you as always for all that you do and all your company, but not without leaving you a tip. Yesterday, somebody asked me about Blockbuster. Somebody sent me a personal private message. You keep talking about Blockbuster. What is Blockbuster? Can you tell me where to find it? Well, I could, but it is no fun when I have to tell you everything. So it is a lot more fun when you go on a treasure chest hunt on your own. As you know, Coffee and Headlines, we publish the show notes on every single video that you find on YouTube. On Facebook and on YouTube. All the show notes are included there. But I'm going to give you a tip. If you go into the website where you will find all the different shows, there they are. One after the other. They include like a little thing about what we talked about. But the beautiful thing about this is that right here, there is a search box. And if I click on that and I type Blockbuster, watch the magic ensue. Search results. So we talked about Blockbuster in 3 different shows. The first one was on June 28th, 2 great podcasts. So we can go in there and take a look at all the show notes from that day. Oh, there's the Trocadero de Monte Carlo. And of course, there's the replay from YouTube. And if you go through this list of things, there is Blockbuster, and there is the headline or the link where you can find information about it. So this is part of the reason why we keep all these show notes, so that if you find information that you find useful and you want to go looking for it on the website, you can do that at your leisure. With that said, I don't think I have anything new to say or anything else to say. Thank you very much for joining this broadcast. As always, today was a weird day because the news are so inconclusive. I really wish some of these situations gave us some closure. And speaking of closure, I did notice that somebody asked me about my SUV. My SUV is dead. It needs to be towed today. I went and looked at it with a technician yesterday who told me there's water in your engine. And when there's water in your engine, it really needs some open heart surgery. So for better or for worse, I'm going to have it towed to the dealer today, and they're going to take a look at her. But, it's all good. She needs to have her TLC as well, so that I can continue using it and I can continue doing all kinds of adventures. But you know what? I can use some walking because I'm getting a little bit of COVID here and down on the waistline. So I will continue business as usual, relying on taxi cabs with certification to get by, and continuing to share the best we can about our destination with you on a daily basis. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay in touch, stay kind, and for better or worse, stay patient, because things are moving at a trickle pace, and we're going to continue having to deal with these things for some time. So we might as well get comfortable. Have an awesome day, and I will see you again tomorrow.